Today we are taking a look at one of the biggest brands ever to come out of India. That's right, Kingfisher.
Oh, me and my friends, the king of good time. We're gonna have a good time. Get together.
What is up, friends? Welcome back to the Treehouse Brewing Company YouTube channel, where today we have a really interesting one for you, Kingfisher. Most people know Kingfisher as the beer that they see at Indian restaurants and import sections or while traveling internationally. The story behind this beer is much bigger than you might imagine. It actually runs through British colonial brewing, Indian independence, the Mallya family, lifestyle branding, airline collapses, legal drama, and Heineken ownership. So the roots of this beer go all the way back to the 1800s. So during British rule, beer production in India grew because British soldiers and administrators wanted to drink some familiar European-style beer while stationed there. Several breweries across India opened during the mid-19th century, especially in areas with a strong British military presence. Gotta get your booze in. So in 1915, Scottish businessman Thomas Leishman brought several South Indian breweries together to form United Breweries, or UB Group. At first, the company largely served the colonial market, including beer for the British troops. Now, after India gained its independence, the company began to change dramatically. In 1947, Vijay Mallya became the first Indian director of United Breweries. Soon after, he became the chairman, and under him, United Breweries began to expand aggressively, buying breweries, distilleries, and liquor companies across India. That set the stage for the Kingfisher beer most people know and love today. So Kingfisher Premium launched in 1978. It was built as an easy drinking lager for India, light, crisp, mild in bitterness, and suited to hot weather and spicy food. It was not trying to be a heavy European-style beer. It was designed to be super refreshing and approachable. Then in 1983, the story took a very dramatic turn. Vijay Mallya died, and his son Vijay Mallya took control of UB Group at just 28 years old. That's a lot of power for a young fella. Vijay Mallya did not create United Breweries, and Kingfisher Premium had already launched before he took over. But he really changed what Kingfisher meant. Under Mallya, Kingfisher became a lifestyle brand. And I don't know if I'm saying that right, guys. We did do our research. Mallya, I don't know. Light me up in the comments. So it became a lifestyle brand. We had luxury parties, sports sponsorships, fashion shows, models, cricket, Formula One, nightlife, travel, the whole thing. The brand became tied to the phrase king of good times, and Mallya lived in a way that made that phrase feel really real. He was well-to-do, flamboyant, highly visible, and eventually one of the most controversial figures in modern Indian business. All of this energy helped Kingfisher become a big, widely known, recognizable beer. India's alcohol advertising restrictions also helped to shape the brand. Direct beer advertising was limited, so Kingfisher stayed visible through other channels. They used mineral water, sports, fashion, events, sponsorships, and in a strange way, those limits helped the brand become broader than just the bottle. Kingfisher also expanded aggressively beyond India. In 1981, Kingfisher introduced canned beer. In 1982, Kingfisher Lager launched in the United Kingdom. Over time, it became a familiar beer at Indian restaurants around the world. And for many beer drinkers outside of India, Kingfisher became the beer associated with curry, grilled meats, and heavily seasoned food. Then came one of the brand's most important product moves, Kingfisher Strong. Launched in 1999, Kingfisher Strong mattered because India's beer market developed differently than many Western markets. Strong beer became a major mainstream category in India. It wasn't a small niche, and some versions of Kingfisher Strong sit at around 8% ABV, way stronger than a typical American or European lager. Now that gave United Breweries a major product in one of India's most important beer segments. Now Vijay Mallya did a ton of work to push the Kingfisher brand far beyond beer. In 2005, he launched Kingfisher Airlines. The goal was to make flying stylish, social, upscale, all connected to the same Kingfisher loud and proud lifestyle image. At first, the airline actually gained a huge amount of attention and traction, but financially, behind the scenes, it was quickly becoming a disaster. It expanded quickly, entered a brutally competitive market, took on heavy debt, and acquired the low-cost carrier Air Deccan in 2007. That deal increased the airline's scale, but it also added a ton of debt and complexity. Now, by the early 2010s, that collapse became very loud and very public. Flights were delayed, employees went unpaid, planes were grounded, banks demanded repayment, tax authorities got involved, and in 2012, Kingfisher Airlines lost its operating license. This contrast was brutal, right? The brand was built around fun, luxury, success, globetrotting, etc., and the airline itself became associated with debt, unpaid workers, grounded planes, legal battles, and none of those things that it purportedly stand for. Now, Mallya denied wrongdoing and said the airline failed because economic conditions and environmental policy. Now, in 2016, Mallya left India for the United Kingdom, where he remained during years of legal fights tied to the airline's collapse. And yet Kingfisher, the beer, through it all, survived. That might actually be the most interesting part of the story. The airline disappeared, Mallya's reputation changed dramatically, but Kingfisher remained deeply tied to Indian beer culture, not only in India, but across the world. Now, recently in 2021, Heineken took control of United Breweries, moving Kingfisher into one of the world's largest brewing portfolios while keeping the brand rooted in its native India. Today, United Breweries still describes Kingfisher as its flagship brand, and it remains one of the defining names in Indian beer. One final note before we taste it: depending on where you buy Kingfisher, the beer in the bottle may not actually be brewed in India. Some US bottles are contract brewed under license closer to market. I believe that this bottle was made in Utica, New York, which is really kind of interesting. I think we know where that was probably made. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Whew. So that's it, guys. The Kingfisher timeline: colonial breweries in the 1800s, United Breweries in 1915, Indian control under Vijay Mallya after independence, Kingfisher Premium in 1978, Vijay Mallya turning it into a lifestyle brand, Kingfisher Strong in 1999, the rise and collapse of Kingfisher Airlines, Heineken control in 2021, and a beer brand that still remains as one of India's most recognizable here in 2026. Let's talk about this bottle. Let's crack this beer open together and let's see what Kingfisher has to offer. All right, so before I dive into the tasting, I do like to comment on the bottle design. It's pretty unique, if I have to be honest. I mean, I'm almost certain that this label wasn't AI generated, but it probably did some AI training because it looks a lot like an AI generated label. It looks like there's a couple of medals on the bottle. The King of Good Times, very, very small on here. And then there's a smaller one with a crown that says Kingfisher Beer. I'm assuming paying homage to its United Kingdom roots. Since 1857, Kingfisher Premium Lager beer, really clean label. Gold, red, and white is the colors of macro lager. We see it time and time again. There are so many beers that speak that language. There is the nice bird there on the front. On the back, 4.8% alcohol by volume, Kingfisher Premium Lager beer, 12 fluid ounces. Got a little blurb here. Kingfisher Premium Lager is brewed from the finest malted barley and hops. It has won several international awards for quality. Kingfisher is brewed under the technical supervision of United Breweries Limited, Bangalore, India. And I believe on the box, Michael, this said that it was brewed in Utica, New York.
That is correct.
So Kingfisher beer, the king of good times, famous Indian beer brewed in Utica, New York. We don't have a date on this beer. Where did we buy it and was it cold?
Warm at Total Wine in Natick.
Warm at Total Wine in Natick. Nice cap. Once again, Kingfisher Premium Lager. Does anybody know what that means? Premium? It's just a word. No twist top today, so we're using our favorite Treehouse Brewing Company bottle opener. Guys, now is the time to smash that subscribe button. We're on the push to 100,000. Are you going to be the one that hits the button to hit 100,000? I hope so. 70% of people who watch don't subscribe. It's a huge help to us. We got a ton of great content on the channel, so do us a solid and get on the team. There it is, 12 ounces into a 16-ounce Willie Becker. Pours with a beautiful head of foam. Really nice, I would say slightly darker than we're accustomed to color. Beautiful filtered clarity on this beer. I see no floaties whatsoever. Just a clean beer all around. Mild effervescence on the appearance. I do really like the density of the foam on this beer. I do like the color of it. I like the clarity. It's a, it's a 5 out of 5, a 10 out of 10, a 92 out of 100. that math doesn't check out. The head looks really good on this beer. Aroma, simple cereal grain, not very hoppy, a little bit of expressive lager fermentation character. Pretty straightforward on the nose, a little bit of fruitiness and a little bit of like what I'm perceiving to be a metallic note, which always makes me nervous because it can kind of have this, it can pretend this kind of like oxidative character. But yeah, not a bad nose. Like again, not very hoppy, not very expressive, little bit of lager character. Really kind of a basic lager nose. There's nothing that, when I take this aroma, nothing stands out at me and says, this is significantly different or better than many of the other macro lagers that we've tried on the channel. It smells a little bit sweet, a little bit grainy, a little bit mild with mild lager fermentation character. So on the flavor, it's different. It's different than I expected. I want to choose my words carefully. I don't dislike it. It hits kind of like with a little bit of oxidative sweetness up front. There's a little bit of herbal hop character toward the middle. It's a little bit sweet and syrupy and not super effervescent. This example feels a little bit stale to me. I don't love trying a beer that was warm on the floor at Total Wine that I don't know the condition of. So it does feel like it's suffering the effects of being warm on the floor with that oxidative character. It has a really funny flavor profile. It's a little bit sweet, it's a little bit herbal and mild, and it tastes like, honestly, when it was fresh and if it was conditioned well, it would have tasted a lot better than it does right here. Yeah, it's too bad because I want to put it in like that A-B tier of macro lagers that we've tasted, but given its condition, I feel like it's slightly below that. It has a kind of a bitterness and an unpleasant oxidized finish that's just staying with me, but I really, really, really dislike on the channel judging a beer on its merits when I know that it's not in the optimal condition. We do have to judge a brewery on that. It is a brewery's responsibility ultimately to care for their beer and deliver it to the consumer in the best way possible. It is an expression of their brand. But I feel like if this beer were fresher, it would be a lot better than it's presenting here today on the channel. So it's not my favorite. I think it would go really well with food. Again, it has a little bit more heartiness than I would expect from a macro lager. There is some hop character there. There's a little bit of like citrusy hop. There's a fair amount of bitterness on the finish. It's actually pretty heavy. There's a lot going on in this beer that isn't going on in other macro lagers. Again, so I feel like the bones of it being really good are there, but this example that we're tasting today is not great. So that's it, guys. Big history for Kingfisher, representing an entire country. If you're watching from India, if this is a beer that means a lot to you, if you have a history with this beer, if you know more than we know, please share your thoughts down below. If you do enjoy this content, we have a ton of other content like it on the channel. So get subscribed, leave your comments down below. And if you enjoy this content, hit that like button. As always, drink Treehouse. We'll see you guys next time. Be good. I feel like there's a good beer in there.